What's up, world? Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm your host, Micah. Today we're talking about Bellator. It's the end of Season 5. It is upon us. This is not like the Super Bowl, but it's the conclusion. We got 2 tournament winners already decided and 2 more to be crowned. We also got 2 special feature fights, one's to get into the next season tournament. It's going to be awesome. Bellator has been all season, so we got 4 predictions on this main card for you. We're going to tell you about the fights, lay down our little prediction. First, we start off with Michael, the big boss Costa, who's 11-5-1, taking on Lyman Cyborg Good, who is 11-2. The winner of this fight will get into the next Bellator welterweight tournament. Lyman Good was the first Bellator welterweight tournament winner, so the first Bellator welterweight champion. He's 1-2 in his last 3 fights, though. His opponent, Michael Costa, who's going to be making his Bellator debut, is 1-2-1 in his last 4 Bellator fights. But we heard there were some mental issues, there were some health issues, there was other things going on in his life, and since he feels that's all recovered, he had 1 first-round serious TKO win. Going into this fight, we know Michael Costa. We know about him is that he trained with Shutobox, so he's been a team member of Anderson Silva, Shogun Rua, and Vanderlei Silva. He now trains with the Wanna Fight team out in Las Vegas, Nevada. We know what one of his training partners is like in the cage, Vitor Viana. But Costa, a much more Muay Thai fighter, more in the shape of the other guys I aforementioned. He does have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, an explosive striker on his feet. Lyman Good's going to have to worry about that. I would say as an overall mixed martial artist, for how we define that in America, with the wrestling, with the grappling, with the clinch, with the total work, that Lyman Good should have an advantage over Costa. It should have an advantage. We thought that he would have a striking advantage in his last bout over Rick Hahn. That fight went to a split decision victory for Rick Hahn, in which he outstruck Good. That's the disconcerting part, is that the judo practitioner who had just picked up mixed martial arts in the last 2 years was able to outstrike a guy that had a solid, career so far starting off and is a highly touted prospect. Lyman Good can win this fight. I'm going to predict him to win this fight with a unanimous decision. He wins the majority of his fights with the TKO or the decision. It's some ground and pound. It's top control. I think that's exactly what he's going to need to do. When he's outside, he needs to stay outside and far away from Costa. When he's inside, he needs to get in. We don't have too much video or too much experience or knowledge of really what Michael Costa brings, but it's just the hype and what we've been hearing. Not too many tapes on film. He has been caught in submissions. Lyman Good, not the greatest submission expert in the world, though. This fight should have some a bunch of flying fists, some grab your heart, oh my god moments for me as my pick might go down. I could see Costa winning with the first round TKO, but I think Lyman Good is going to be able to have enough defense, enough protection, enough well-roundedness to come under some shots, land some takedowns, get some ground and pound, get some good control, have ring control, have the generalship, and put his pace, put his pressure on Costa, not the other way around, looking for Lyman Good to take this. But it is a beware because Costa has dynamite in his hands, not too much video for anybody to study on him. Next fight we're talking about, Patricky Pitbull Friday, who's 9-2, is going to do battle with Kurt Batman Pellegrino, who's 16-6. This will have pretty good implications on the next Bellator lightweight tournament, 155 pounds. What do we know about these guys? Patricky, a member of Team Minotauro, the Nogueiras, and he also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and has some serious dynamite and creativity with his striking. We've seen him TKO Rob McCullough and also a flying knee in his last Bellator outings. He was, though, taken down, controlled by a wrestler, and ground and pounded very badly by Michael Chandler. But as we've seen now from Michael Chandler, what he did against Eddie Alvarez, he's in a class of, he is very special with only 9 mixed martial arts fights and already have taken down one of, who was prior to that, a top 10 lightweight throughout the whole world of mixed martial arts. Batman Pellegrino, a former UFC fighter, retired for a few months, had the itch, came back, he's ready to compete again. He left the UFC, he had a 4-fight win streak, 2-fight losing streak, then left. Now he's coming back. We'll see if retirement, which wasn't really too much of a retirement, left any cage rust on him. As far as the striking goes, the more physical knockout power is Pitbull's, without a doubt. Batman is going to have to use agility and also his grappling ability. He's a very good submission guy going up against a Nogueira black belt. If there's any chance for Pellegrino to win, he's going to have to probably land a shot to be able to drag the fight to the ground and try to snap into a quick submission against Tricky. He would love to take Pitbull down, ground and pound him a la Michael Chandler. I just don't think he'll have the size, the physical strength to be able to do it. I think Pitbull wins this fight with a 3rd round TKO after a long ruling battle. Wouldn't be surprised to see the 1st round dominated by Pellegrino being more aggressive, landing takedowns, but I think Patricio will be able to bounce back from that, use his strikes, maybe some knees, and win back the second round. In the third round, I think he finishes the fight. Now we get up to the co-main event of this. It's going to be to find a bantamweight tournament champion. We have Eduardo Dantas, who's 12-2, taking on Alexis Villa, who's 10-0. As far as striking goes, we have Dantas, who's a Muay Thai striker, hands up, throws hands, throws knees, throws elbows, crazy styling, versus Alexis Villa, who's solid in just using his hands, his boxing stance. Explosive power, though, as we all saw him score one of the top 5 knockouts of the year against Joe Warren in the first bantamweight fight of the tournament. Dantas, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Alexis Villa, his groundwork, he's an Olympic wrestler from Cuba. But also, that being said, Villa is one of the guys that, since he's been in mixed martial arts and he can use his punching power, he likes to use his wrestling ability in backwards in defense to stand up and use his striking. We saw holes in his game against Marcos Galvon. I think that Dantas, with a mix of a lot of leg kicks, taking out the core of Villa, with some quick strikes, not letting a lot of power, I think he's going to have more power, though, than we're expecting. Shock Villa, and I see a unanimous decision. I think 29-28, we'll see Eduardo Dantas. A lot of people felt Marcos Galvon, Alexis Villa winner, without a doubt, was going to win this tournament. I have another belief. Every time I've seen Eduardo Dantas, he gets better and better. This is a big moment for a 22-year-old taking on a 40-year-old who's trying to grab on for some mixed martial arts fame. Either way, this fight will have fireworks, and I'm going to take Eduardo Dantas because we really haven't seen Alex Villa's chin tested, and the one time we did see him take some shots, he recovered pretty well. I got Dantas, but it's a buyer beware because of the power of Villa, and a lot of people around mixed martial arts have felt pretty strongly about Alexis Villa, Marcos Galvon winner, was going to take this tournament. I'm not so sure about that. I've liked everything that Dantas is bringing to the table. Now we go to the big heavyweight main event, where Eric the American Soldier Prindle, his 9-1 record, takes on Thiago Big Monster Santos, who's 10-0-1. Prindle, U.S. Marine, he's cutting from about 300 pounds down to 265. It showed much more improved striking in his second bout out. In the first tournament bout that he was in, he took on Abe Wagner. I had him winning that fight. He wasn't as impressive as I thought he would be. His second fight against Ron Sparks, I had him losing to Sparks. He was much more impressive, used his footwork, better cutting of angles, used that boxing, marine boxing background that he had to his advantage, and had a solid knockout of Ron Sparks with a great left hook. Thiago Santos have not been overwhelmingly impressed by his strikes, but he's landed big enough strikes to take the fight to the ground, where he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and he's slapped into rear naked chokes. Eric Prindle wins this fight with a knockout punch. He wins this fight, ending it early. It seems like catching a guy, because if the longer this goes on, if the Josh Burns fight, both of these fighters have fought Josh Burns. If the fights that they have with Josh Burns are any implication to this fight, Prindle, who sometimes seems too nice to go for the kill, will have to worry about that. Thiago Santos will go for the kill, will want the rear naked choke. I'd love to go with the Brazilian because he has the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the boxing. But there's just something after seeing Junior Dos Santos and a lot of pure boxers, Frankie Edgar and guys that are mixed martial artists, I got a feeling that the American Soldier, Eric Prindle, wins this one second round knockout. So we're going to go with Lyman Good for a unanimous decision, Tricky Pitbull with the third round TKO, Eduardo Dantas I'm taking a unanimous decision, and Eric Prindle with a second round knockout. Would not be surprised if this fight gets to the ground, if Prindle gets submitted, because Big Monster is a monster. It's just hard for me to see Big Monster surviving through any one of the punches if they land cleanly by Prindle. Neither man is overwhelming with their striking abilities, thinking that we see the next Anderson Silva out there. Well, this has been Cage Minds. I'm making some bold predictions. Hope you guys like the show. Give me a comment. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Everyone remember, follow your dreams. Uncage the warrior within yourself. This has been Cage Minds. Check back after the event. We'll tell you how our predictions did. Have a good night.